Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the Celtic Way YouTube channel, X page, and Facebook page. My name is Ryan McGinley. I'm delighted to be joined by Tony Haggerty in the capital at Easter Road for Hibernian versus Celtic. 12:30 kickoff. As you can see, the team lines are as follows. It's Casper Schmeichel in goals. Back four of Greg Taylor, Liam Scales, Cameron Carter-Vickers, and Alistair Johnson. It's a midfield three of Callum McGregor, Rio Hatate, and Matt O'Reilly. And the front three is James Forrest, Kyogo Furuhashi, and Nicholas Kuhn. Delighted to be joined by Tony. Tony, how are you doing this morning? How are you feeling? What's your thoughts on the team and the subs as well? I'll just quickly read out the subs before we start. So the subs today are Sinisalo, Yang, Home, Tomoki Iwata, Bernardo, Maeda, Ralston, Welsh, and Mikey Johnson. What's your thoughts quickly on the team, or firstly on the team?
Great, the continuity in selection. I think we thought Maeda would come straight back in, but he's gone with the same lineup that defeated Kilmarnock so convincingly. It ain't broke, didn't need fixing, tweaking maybe, but we'll probably see Maeda at some point today. But as you put out in a tweet, the sun shines out in Leith, the Edinburgh Festival's on, but I think you might see a bit of a show today from, I was going to say the men in green and white, but Celtic traditionally wear their away strip, don't they, when they come here? So
men in yellow today, probably?
Possibly yellow, but looking forward to it, Ryan. The pitch is looking immaculate. We were just prior to coming on here, John Collins was standing in the director's box, wasn't he? And he motioned up and he was just like pointing at the surface and the surroundings, and he just said, no better day for it. He's quite right, no better day for it.
Sunshine in Leith. Hopefully we see the passing, the moving and the tempo famously by John Collins on the putt today for Brendan Rodgers' side. Yeah, just looking at the team, why change it if it ain't broke? It was such a great performance last week on Flag Day. Just keep it the way it is. Maeda returns to the bench, but James Forrest is there. He seems to be always there. The second half last season, starting this one, 2 starts in a row. Great to see him still in that team, still contributing as well. But also just as good to see Kuhn in there and Matt O'Reilly, 2 players that you would hope are going to have a big season if one of them stays at the club. But especially for Nicholas Kuhn, who started the season well, pre-season, going into I know he got the deflected goal, but at the same time, you've got to be in it to win it, and you've got to be in it to score. It'll be great to see him today, and hopefully he can have a better showing than he did last time at Easter Road.
He's shown at Easter Road the last time, made up a lot of people's minds very early, Ryan. There was a lot of premature knee-jerk reaction to that. I think we all wanted more, but having discovered the reasons behind that, I think we all cut him some slack, didn't we? Because I think Nicholas Kuhn was affected by that performance as well. So it's great to see that Nicholas Kuhn has come out fresh and reinvigorated, and he'll want to put that Easter Road performance behind him, and there's no better way to do it than today, something on today, and just picking up from where he's left off. And also, it's testament to James Forrest as well that the manager's given him the nod again, because the easy thing would have been to bring back Maeda. They're fit enough to be in the bench, then people say you're fit enough to play. And I think the Celtic supporters, everybody would admit that they're loving what James Forrest is bringing right now. And long may that continue, because he is such a valuable asset to have in your team.
Yes, absolutely. A couple of legends in this team, I'd say, already in the shape of Forrest. You can't argue with his trophy haul. You can't argue with Callum McGregor's trophy haul. This will be the first game since he announced his international retirement. Hopefully, we can see the benefits at Celtic with him hanging up the international boots to get that recovery time and the international breaks. To use those weeks or 2 weeks to put his feet up, maybe get some more training in. Although probably one of the best trainers at the club to begin with. How important do you think that will be in the weeks and months to come? He has those times, he has those down periods that he can recharge and be ready for the domestic and European season for Celtic and just Celtic.
We will find out in the coming weeks, Ryan, but that's a decision Callum McGregor won't have taken lightly. And having consulted with Brendan Rodgers, he said it was more a listening thing. I don't think Brendan Rodgers wanted to sway him in any direction, but I think everybody feels like Brendan Rodgers on this one. From a selfish point of view, it's a win-win for Celtic. Because this is a guy who's played a hell of a lot of football over X amount of years, and his body needs to rest at times. But as I said, we spoke to him last week, and he's as lean as anything. He must really look after himself. He clearly does. And but if Callum McGregor decides it's time to give his body a rest by retiring from Scottish international duty, then so be it. But it's great news for Celtic, Ryan, and you will find that out in the fullness of time, because you will get that rest, as you say, at international break, when it's the international break. So, yeah, and what will be, it'll be the noticeable changes that you'll see from that. I think the Celtic supporters will be very keen. They'll have a keen eye on that, and they'll want to see what Callum McGregor's like in the games after the international breaks, to see what difference it's made. There's any advantage you can get, so always worth it. And I think that's what Brendan Rodgers were alluding to. And the fact that it's Callum McGregor, who's such a vital cog in the green and white machine anyway, then all the better.
Yeah, you can just see Brendan Rodgers talking to the media down there at the very bottom of the pitch. He'll be looking forward to getting a taste of the Easter Road atmosphere and the pitch as well. His record isn't great at Easter Road. I think that's caveated by the fact that that Hibs have been down and up in the divisions. Also, the time that he left, and then Hibs were more prominent in the league, etc. But he got his first win at Easter Road. Adam Maeda with the 2 goals. Funnily enough, Adam Maeda isn't in the Celtic team today. He was playing for Norwich yesterday. Came off the bench. It's just a saga that goes on, but you would hope that that's going to reach a resolution and a conclusion in the next week or so, because it's another game where Celtic only have one recognised striker, 2 if you count Maeda, who can play in that position on the bench today, so he can maybe have that option coming off. But it's a situation that needs to be sorted out soon.
The manager's words were God willing by the end of the window.
God willing, yeah.
You have to trust them on that, don't you? And I think Celtic, I said on the pod on Friday, I fully expected it to be concluded within 72 hours. I still kind of think that it will drag on into next week, but I'm fully expecting a deal for Adam Maeda to be concluded by next week, and he might make his second debut for Celtic against Hibernian, same opposition at Celtic Park in the League Cup. I think the manager's pretty hopeful of that, Ryan, and I think the supporters, we can be pretty hopeful of that as well. They've gone in supposedly with a second bid, which has not been accepted yet. I still think that's a matter of time before those hurdles are overcome, and Adam Maeda will be a Celtic player at some point next week.
I think regardless of who it is that comes in as a striker, we want to see that striker in at the club, acclimatised. It'll be easier if it's Adam Maeda because he's been at the club. There won't really be that. It'll just be like a comeback, basically, like a returning from your annual leave or something. I don't know. He's back down at Norwich, then back up to the real stuff at Celtic. Hopefully that is the case. It's getting to the point where it kind of needs to be either now, in my opinion, because he's been there before. He'd easily just slot in. I know Norwich fans will get different opinions about him, but when he was playing for Celtic, he was making the difference at this ground as well, Easter Road. Yes, it was only 2 penalties. Didn't really do much else in the game by way of on the ball, off the ball, but he was there when it mattered from 12 yards, scored the goals, stepped up, and he really announced himself as I believe that was his first 2 goals for Celtic on that night. And he didn't really stop from that point, because then he went on and scored against Motherwell, scored against Rangers, scored against Dundee. Funnily enough, only 2 of his goals came at home. Very much a player that's scoring away from home. And Kyogo, it's something that isn't talked about a lot, but Kyogo doesn't really have a great record away from home at this. Well, when you go into last season, into this season under Brendan Rodgers, so that's something they need to work on. And if they've got a second option that can do it away from home, then that'll be absolutely ideal. And it needs to be concluded, basically, is what we're trying to say. But it needs to be concluded quickly. I
think the manager's looking at all of those things as well. Kyogo does have a great record at home, away from home. You could look at the stats and argue that he needs help. So, hopefully that happens. And as I say, I've got no qualms about it. I still think that Adam Maeda will be a Celtic player come the end of this week. So I'm hoping by early in the week, to be honest, because I want it done as quick as possible. Because as I said on Friday as well, I don't just want them to rest on their laurels, because they still need a centre back and a left back line as priorities. And you don't want to be too long into the season. You want to try and get these sorted as quickly as possible. Other players have been mentioned as well. And I'm sure the manager will get asked about that at the end of the game, and will be a wee bit more clearer in the picture with regards to that. But with regards to today, I'm just hoping to see Celtic, play the football that they showed against Kilmarnock, dominate again, and be lethal in front of goal, because they were lethal last week when the chances arose. And I want to see Hatate put in another. I know he's your man, but Hatate was the man last week, and I just think you're talking about players. I just think this is a huge season for Hatate. It really is, and I think Hatate will be the name on everybody's lips this time next season, and he'll be the man that they're talking about in Matt O'Reilly in glowing terms, and he'll be the one that they're clamouring to get. I think he needs to do that for Celtic this season. Don't think he's quite ready to take that leap yet, but another season at Celtic, certainly playing the way he did against Kilmarnock, and he'll grow and he'll get better. I mean, there's nothing else to add about Matt O'Reilly, is there? apart from the fact it's just wonderful that he's playing, and we're just going to enjoy every minute of him while he's still here.
You're doing my hosting duties for me, because I was going to bring up those two players next. We're going from front to back, I think, in this team. We will get on and talk about the defence in a wee bit more detail with Carter Vickers. I think you always need to talk about him and how important he is to this team, and how great it is to see him starting off a season not with any injuries. Touch wood or touch whatever. No injuries to talk of or speak of at this moment in time. I want to talk about that midfield. That midfield three, it's as strong as I've seen in a Celtic midfield in a long, long time. Three, but they bring different things. And Hatate started as you mean to go on this season. He was the puppet master on last Sunday. He was making everything happen. He was just controlling everyone. When I was at the game on Saturday watching him, I was watching him very closely. He was actually telling Greg Taylor and other players where to go on the pitch. He's a bit of a midfield general, and I like to see that. He's taking a leadership role. He's, 25, 26? So he's that age. So he's now taking a leadership role. He's a senior member. Maybe some of the stuff he says lost in translation. Maybe he's got broken English, but he's still telling people where to go. And that universal language of football, it's great to see him taking that role.
Where's that coming from?
From Brendan Rodgers, isn't it?
That's right. One leader to another, telling him, you're as big a player as anybody in this team. That's the best midfield in the country, Ryan, by a country mile. Right, by a long stretch. That triumvirate of players, they're gifted, they're talented, and when they're on song, they're a joy to watch. And the manager's telling Hatate, you cannot be a shrinking violet in this team. I know last season it didn't go as well as we both planned, and you didn't do the things I wanted you to do, but I now want you to do this, and this, and you've got a voice as well. And it doesn't matter, the language of football is communicated to anybody, regardless of what country they come from. Language of football is very restricting, which is great in that sense, right? And the message is clearly getting across. And I love to see that from Hatate, but I love to see it from Rodgers as well. To big him up and tell him, you're just as important as anybody in this team, and he is. And I think when you say that to players, they feel valued and they feel worthy, and they give you that. And maybe he did it last season because Brendan Rodgers started with David Turnbull. He made a couple of comments in the media about Hatate, saying he needed more. And clearly, the players, the clever players, Ryan, the intelligent players, are the ones that learn, that take it on board, and they're willing to be educated. They don't think they're the finished article, and they make themselves the finished article, like Matt O'Reilly has come up and learned under two managers and is approximating the finished article. Hatate's one like that. Do you know what? That's going to be me.
Yeah, I think it's great to see. I know we use certain references. You use prodigal son. You use, I don't know, all the different sort of ones. For me, it feels like Hatate was almost like the Doubting Thomas last season. He was on the bench. He didn't really know how to do it under Brendan Rodgers. Look at the trajectory of the two players 12 months from now. Hatate's one of the first names on the team sheet. David Turnbull, unfortunately, and I did want his career to work out at Celtic, he was on the bench for Cardiff yesterday. He wasn't even starting for them. So it shows you the change, 12 months. He's grafted in pre-season, and now he's getting his reward as one of the first names on the team sheet.
And I also think Ange Postecoglou leaving had a big bearing on guys like Hatate and Kyogo.
Yep.
And the guy that brought them over, had left, and they probably thought that was a period of uncertainty for them. You know what I mean? Kyogo had his ups and downs last season too. Brendan Rodgers comes in, and Brendan Rodgers commands instant respect, but he's never coached these guys, and so there was a kind of period of getting used to it. Matt O'Reilly took to him straight away. Other players maybe take a while to adjust and fully understand what the manager's wanting from them. And I think not just Hatate and Kyogo, but Brendan Rodgers talks about the team now. I think they all understand, because last season they won the league because Brendan Rodgers guided them over the line, right? It was his tactical nous and his managerial prowess and elite level stuff that I banged on about for a long time. But he got the best out of those players. But on pre-season, he made a point of saying the guys now understand what they're doing. They can take that into football matches. They can decide for themselves. They don't need to look to the sideline for guidance. And so he's trusting them, and they're all singing from the same page. They all understand now what he wants, what Brendan Rodgers wants from his players and the team and their role in the team. And I think Hatate and Kyogo as well are like, right, okay, because it's been a noticeable difference in the two of them since pre-season started, hasn't there?
Yeah.
You know, those two in particular, I mean, you know, I could be wrong in that, but I think those two in particular have really grasped the nettle on what the manager wants, because those were the two that were coming in for probably the more ferocious of the criticism that was being dished out from Celtic supporters at certain points of last season.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a couple of things in the comments I noticed, and get your predictions in, team. Not team predictions, because obviously you know the team. But the score predictions and maybe first goal scorer as well. Just notice on the bench, I need to get this cleared up. Palma isn't on the bench. Luis Palma isn't on the bench. I'm wondering if it's an injury, because we've not heard anything about any rumours of him wanting to leave or anything like that. Obviously, you're going to put 2 and 2 together. Transfer window winger maybe doesn't get a lot of game time at this moment in time. But I'm hoping it's an injury more than anything, and I don't mean it like that. But you know, he's a player that you would want to maybe come on and make a difference, but he's not on the bench this afternoon. It's Yang that's on the bench and Mikey Johnson in terms of wing options. So it might have been the tackle actually, on Palma last week. There wasn't anything said about it in the press conference, so maybe something that he might say something pre-match about. So if there's anybody that knows or they've heard it on Sky Sports or something like that, then please let us know, because we're on live and we can't obviously check. But it'd be good to get that cleared up. You're hoping that that's maybe just a knock rather than anything else?
Yeah, I would hope so, yeah. And as I say, there's only one man that can clear it up, and that'll be the manager, and I'm sure it will be something, not say as simple, but something like that. But you're talking about the bench. I'm particularly interested to see if Odin Thiago Home will come on.
Yep, there's a lot of comments about him. Yeah. He passes the eye test, doesn't he?
And again, somebody who's learning and you know, has decided, because who did he say in pre-season that needed to give him more? Wilson Lawal and Odin Thiago Home. One of them still at the club, and one of them could be signing for Stoke, Ryan. One was pictured at Stoke yesterday. One could be out the door. So Odin Thiago Home clearly got it into his head and said, I ain't leaving, because I can contribute here. And he's got his head around that.
I thought you were going to go Wolf of Wall Street on me there. It's a bit early for that.
No, not at all. Not at all. Listen, that's the beauty of football, because you're watching what you see in a moment in time, right? There's no right or wrong here. But he's clearly not what the manager wants. But he's persevering with Odin Thiago Home, because there's something there that he likes. And his attitude in pre-season has been excellent. Yep. He's came on ever since the manager said after Queen's Park, I need more. He's giving him more. He's listening. The penny's dropping. And the manager's clearly saying to him, look at those guys in the midfield, Hatate, O'Reilly, McGregor. That might be my favourite midfield. But we're playing a lot of games this season. Yep. You'll be part of those. There'll be big games too. You're going to have to be part of
the benchmark. Though that 3 right now is the benchmark. Unless anything changes, and we probably expect Matt Riley to leave the club before the end of the window, with the way that we'd love him to stay, but when you see teams getting towards that valuation that's been set, when the valuation is set, it's a business at the end of the day, and the player will move on. Thankfully, he is in the starting lineup. It's great to see that. We were talking about that on Friday, about whether or not he'd be in the starting lineup. I'm delighted he's in there, completely delighted, but it means that it's not as far along as what we think.
And I think lots of people were getting confused with that, and I said it on the preview when Brendan Rodgers, you were saying, I think we were both arguing the same point.
Different ways, yeah, absolutely. Right. Lost in translation, maybe.
Yeah, and people kind of turned that into some kind of argument, but you know, there is no risk for me playing Matt O'Reilly right now, and about sort of speculation getting to his head and bids coming in, until somebody hits the trigger figure, Ryan, and it's down the line and medicals are booked, then Matt O'Reilly plays. And when somebody does do that, then it's obvious he's not going to play, isn't it? Because they won't take the risk, and that's
an asset. That's what happens with assets. You don't put your asset under jeopardy or a potential move. Nothing, unfortunately. And as much as you know, we've bidden for Celtic to win. When those sorts of moves come in, you're not going to take that chance when 25, 26 million is at stake. It's a business at the end of the day. You just won't do that. It's just common sense, unfortunately.
So we were arguing the same point in different ways, and lots of people got conflated with that and said that it was, you know, we were arguing or, you know.
Just a wee bit of debate, guys. Just a wee bit of debate. Let me get some of these comments, and get loads of comments. We get 600 people in the comment section. Incredible. Yeah, 10 to 12, 40 minutes until kickoff. If you like the music, then so be it. But you know, if you want to hear that over us, I don't know. Live and in stereo. James McMullen says 4-0 with Kyogo, the first goal scorer. Margaret McMillan Kuhn, I'm guessing that is 3-1 to Celtic. Henrik McLaughlin says 3-0 Celtic. 4-0 Celtic, says Edward Moore. Kyogo with the first goal. A lot of Kyogos, which is good to see. We've said he looks sharp. There's an article on the website on the Celtic Way saying that it looks as if Brendan Rodgers has finally managed to figure out that puzzle. 19 goals. It maybe looks as if he's half completed the puzzle. Those extra pieces have been put into place. Can do more off the ball, which is great to see. Daniel Stewart, 5-1. Kuhn, O'Reilly, Kyogo, Hatate, McGregor. If that's a prediction, if that's what's going to happen, take that. Absolutely. Love the clean sheet as well. If that was to be the case. Hazel Finn, always in the comments. Kuhn, first goal scorer, 4-0. Let me see. Fancy 3-0. 2-1. 2-0. So it's all wins for Celtic, 4-1 as well. A confident comment section this morning, going into the afternoon. But yeah, how are you feeling about this game? Are you confident that Celtic can come here and get the same result as what they did a few months back when it was the business end of last season?
I said on our predictions, I said that I'm expecting Kasper Schmeichel to keep a clean sheet. If he's going to keep a clean sheet, then it's going to be one-way traffic the other way, I'm hoping. And I see Celtic winning by a handsome margin, Ryan. I'll give you my prediction at the end because I'm sure I've started to work it out in my head. But I just think I think one of the commenters has put in, it's a team brimming with confidence. They are brimming with confidence. They're playing some stuff. Showed it last week. They've showed it in pre-season. Pre-season games count for nothing. But you know, when the ball started rolling for real, they showed up. So and there's a continuity in selection there. So all points to, but everything else, you've got to earn the right to do that. You know, and we've been here before, and they've came and they've played, and you know, they recently lost 4-2 here. So you can take nothing for granted. But if Celtic turn up and play, they win this game and they win it convincingly for me, Ryan.
Yeah, fingers crossed that does turn out to be the case this afternoon at Easter Road in the capital. Just looking down at the pitch, looking at the weather and the pitch in particular, you'll see it when it's on the TV if you're watching it on the TV, or if you're lucky enough to be getting to the game as well, like us. The pitch is in pristine condition. The sun is shining. It really is sunshine in Leaf rather than on Leaf. Well, both actually, to be honest. But perfect conditions. I know we talk about, you know, rainy conditions is perfect for football. This is not bad either. You know, it's sunny. The pitch looks in great position and in a great condition. Two teams that will want to play football on the front foot. It's going to be just a great game, and I think a great advert for Scottish football as well. Would you agree with that summation?
No, it's good. Two good teams. You know, Hibs usually like to have a go whenever any of the Glasgow teams roll into town. So I'm looking forward to seeing somebody actually come out and give a sterner test, because Kilmarnock didn't do too much last week. So everybody was saying they don't know how to gauge that Celtic performance. Celtic did what was expected of them and beat those in front of them, but the onus is on Hibs because they're the home side to test Celtic and give them a hard time. So I'm interested to see how Celtic will cope with that. But I still have every faith in the players' ability and the manager's team that he's picked. That Celtic will have too much in the tank for Hibs, even this early in the season. But if you can't enjoy playing football in these conditions, Ryan, then you're in the wrong game, aren't you? We're enjoying just being here to watch it, but my goodness, I'd love it 10 times more if I was out there playing.
Yep. That's the Celtic team just coming out to warm up, and it does look as if they'll be playing in the yellow this afternoon. Yeah, there's a lot of yellow on their jerseys, so I'm presuming that would be the case. You see Kyogo turning up there and warming up for today's game. You see Stephen Welsh as well, Matt O'Reilly, Rio Hatate, all of the usual suspects in the team. They're looking at in a buoyant mood and in a joyous mood coming into this new season. It helps with the fact that I think there's a settled backline as well now. I know you could talk about you want that backline to be strengthened, but that in itself would provide problems too, in the fact that you need to acclimatise these new players into it. Yes, you can have your doubts over Liam Scales and maybe to an extent Greg Taylor as well. You might want a stronger left back. That could potentially be Jeffrey Schlupp in the coming days as well, because that seems to be a rumour that's getting arms and legs. But it's a settled back line and a settled goalkeeping position as well. Everybody knows that Kasper Schmeichel is probably the number one goalkeeper in the country, I would say as well, almost by default due to what came before him or what he's done before in his career at Leicester. Top quality, good defence, a settled defence. That bodes well, and it's helped that they've got the Colossus himself in Cameron Carter-Vickers just leading from the back to the front.
The glue that holds everything.
The wall, the glue, whatever you want to describe him as, he lives up to it. He has the difference between Celtic winning, drawing, and losing games, isn't he?
Fraser Forster was famously described as La Gran Muralla, wasn't he? I think we have a new La Gran Muralla at the back of the pack, and it's Carter Vickers.
I don't know what's American for wall. There's maybe loads of analogies you could use for that, but it's something that he's just absolutely colossus in this team, isn't he?
As I've said before, when you see Cameron Carter Vickers at the back of the pack, you just breathe easily, don't you? You just think, all right, it doesn't really matter who he's with, partner in the defence, because he always makes them better, and players thrive on that as well. They feed off him. So, and yeah, you can pick goals and the makeup of certain players, but they've had a good start to the season. Liam Scales was excellent last week, scored a wonderful header. You have to give credit where it's due. You ask Canvas Celtic supporters, they do want to see upgrades in the centre back and left back positions. I don't think anybody would dispute that. But whilst these two guys are playing and whilst they're on this forum, then it's hard for the manager to turn around and say you're not playing, because the two of them played really well last week. And also you made a point about Kyogo too, and I think normally Kyogo would have been disappointed at not hitting the back of the net last week. I don't think he'd have been too downhearted, because he had a wonderful performance last week, and he was in and around it at all times, and he contributed to Nicholas Kuhn's goal. So if you come off the field not having scored as a striker and your bar set so high, I think the manager will be saying to him, don't worry about not scoring, because you will score. There'll be days when all you do is score, but that was as good a centre forward performance I've seen from Kyogo since he arrived at Celtic Park.
I would agree completely.
Without scoring.
Yes.
Right.
But he contributed an assist. And what does an assist lead to? A goal. So it's every bit as good as a goal because he's contributing to Nicholas Kuhn. I know it was a deflection. Got to be in it to win it. By attack it, win the raffle, etc. But he got that assist for the goal, and he deserves that.
And that's what I mean by your education and learning and understanding what the manager's about. You're no use to him when you're up front and not scoring and not contributing. But see, when you're up front, you're doing what Kyogo did last week. Movement was sharp. He got into some good positions, missed a couple of chances, but set up goals and was generally involved in everything that was good. I was in and around a lot of what was good. Apart from hitting the net, you can't ask for anything more. But it also stresses the fact that he needs a hand. So we do need another option, right? A goal getter out, right? But, so I'm happy with that. And I think the manager it's a big vote of confidence to the likes of Scales and Taylor, and say to them, you guys were great last week. There's no need to tweak it. There's no need to make any unnecessary changes. He wasn't afforded that luxury many times last season, right? Playing the same team 2 weeks in succession. I think it's great that he can do it this week, and I'll be particularly interested to see Scales and Taylor in the test that they're up against. Because Hibs are going to come at you. Got to expect that. So I want to see how robust they can be. Kasper Schmeichel, I've no qualms about at all. He's the best goalkeeper in the country. Can you argue with that?
No, I can't argue with that whatsoever. Just having a look at the Hibs team. A couple of familiar faces, a couple of new signings on the bench and in the starting lineup. They've got Miko Kuharevich up front, the Ukrainian striker, who they got on loan from Swansea. I believe he was on loan previously, but he moved to Swansea, but now he's back at Hibs on a loan capacity. So what do you expect from Hibs today? I wanted to touch on the opposition for a wee bit. They're a team that will obviously be hurting because they got that defeat, that heavy defeat to St Mirren. I think St Mirren might do that to a couple of teams this season. I think they actually look pretty good. They looked good in Europe the other night as well. So a good opening day result for them. Celtic will play them in 2 weeks' time at St Mirren Park in Paisley. What do you expect from Hibs today? You expect a team that will be looking to make amends for that game, especially with the first game at home in the league for David Gray since being appointed the permanent manager?
Well, they'll want to provide some sort of backlash, won't they? In terms of, they will be hurting after last week because lots of people said they just weren't at it last week at all. Just hoping that continues and Celtic can, run over the top and like St Mirren did. But every game presents a different challenge. This is the first team that David Gray's picked as official Hibs manager, and he'll want them to put on a good showing. It's not going to reflect well on him if he gets heavy back-to-back defeats, and then it'll be the same. You'll hear the same rumblings at Easter Road, about replacing the manager. You seem to be on a constant cycle of managers coming in for X amount of time. Far too early for that, but it'll start again if Hibs are on the receiving end of a heavy one. So they'll have to come out the traps. and try and make amends for last week. I think Celtic will be well drilled for that, and they'll be waiting for that. And in doing so, I think Celtic can maybe exploit some space.
I think these games suit Celtic to a T. I think I'm not going to sit and compare, but it's the same sort of play style. You know, Man City and Chelsea, they went out to try and hurt Celtic on the front foot at the attack. They didn't sit back. It suits Celtic. Celtic can counter at a flash. They'll get pace on both wings. They'll get pace in the midfield as well. Get pace up front. Even on the flanks and the left and right back as well, they can get up the park pretty easily. So it should suit Celtic, because Hibs, the fans won't accept it. The fans won't accept them sitting back. They have to go for it, especially at home. That should work in Celtic's favour, you would hope.
Yeah, I mean, the Hibs fans are like Celtic fans in that respect. You ask Hibs fans, they'll say they play a certain way too, which is like attacking football. Maybe not so much in the same sense as Celtic, because they maybe not have the personnel or the talent or the quality, but they're certainly a demanding crowd, and that demand is that they go forward at all times and attack. So, and that's what I think, that if they do that and try, because in order for us to have any chance in this game, they need to score first, to have something to cling to and then work on. But if Celtic come out of the trap, conversely, just as quick and score early, it could be a long old afternoon for the men from Edinburgh.
Yeah, absolutely. We've been going for half an hour now, so I'll go on to score predictions for you, and then I'll maybe give mine at the end as well. What you predicting today? Who's going to be the first goal scorer? If there is going to be a goal scorer, of course, who do you think is going to get on the score sheet first for Celtic? And what do you think the final score is going to be in today's game?
I'm going to go Kyogo for the first goal, because I think he'll be bursting to score, get his account up running this season. And I'm going to go. See, I went 5-0 last week when I really wanted to go 4. You took 4, so I'm going to take 4. And it's a certainty to be 5 then, isn't it?
I'm going to go 3-0. I'm going to go just a wee bit. An away game, I'm expecting Hibs to come out, but I do want Celtic to get a clean sheet. I think they will get a clean sheet, especially with who they've got in goals at the moment. A guy that can make the big saves when it matters. Just looks, I know you don't want to say it, and it's too early to say it, but in certain areas, it's looking like it's a even better oiled, even I don't even know what you would say, a well-oiled machine, a more oileder. I don't even think that's a word. I'm just making up words on the spot. It's a better system now. The distribution's good from Kasper Schmeichel. He can get the ball out to both his defenders, his midfielders, and the fullbacks as well quickly, and he can go long when required. So it's looking like a hell of a signing already.
I think the word you were probably looking for is upgrade, Ryan. And we had that kind of conversation.
I got talking down about that the last time.
Yeah, and I'm not saying. I think most Celtic supporters are coming around to the fact. I just thought it was a wee bit disparaging to Joe Hart to say it's an upgrade, but I think a lot of Celtic supporters are coming around to the fact that Kasper Schmeichel can do things that Joe Hart maybe can't do. You know, might be a better shot stopper, he might be better in terms of coming for crosses, but the one thing he is very good at, and he has an edge over Joe Hart on, is distribution. And you've noticed that right away. You know,
it's key for the way Rodgers plays as well.
Correct. So, and you know, I'm of the opinion that time will tell whether it's an upgrade, because I don't like being disparaging towards Celtic players, especially somebody like Joe Hart and the service that he gave to the club in those 3 years. But I think it's a seamless transition, I'll say, Ryan. And I think he's already a fan's favourite, just like Joe Hart. And Joe Hart will have told him, you will be a fan's favourite in jig time.
Yeah, absolutely. He wanted a piece of what Joe Hart got. Just bringing up this comment, it was very tongue-in-cheek. I know oileder is not a word. It's just sometimes the words don't come quickly enough. Easier when you're typing than when you're doing live streams, that is for sure. Do you take Tony's car or Ryan's? Tony did the drive and I paid for the train ticket. So there we go. It's half and half. We all help each other in this business. It's absolutely brilliant. Yeah, it's a two-man show and we keep it going as best we can. So all good. We will be back after the match, some point after the match, once the press conferences are over, and on the site we will have instant analysis as well as player ratings. Instant analysis will be as close to full time as possible, and maybe about half an hour or so for the player ratings. We'll try and even them out and space them out so that we'll get new content coming through. We'll then have the press conferences when they go live. The player one will probably be later on tonight, I would imagine. The manager one will be straight away, plus more stuff during the week. Probably spaced out because there's not a game until next Sunday as well. We will be on after the game as soon as we can, maybe an hour and a half, you know, it's better that it's at midday rather than a night game, that's for sure. So we will be back on at some point. Hope you can join us for all the post-match chat and analysis of the game. Until then, enjoy the game, guys. Hopefully Celtic get the 3 points, 6 points from 6, and have their invincible start continue in the league. 2 wins from 2. Fingers crossed that can be the case. Thank you very much, guys, for joining us, and we'll see you all after the game.